Well, good morning again, everyone, and thanks for coming to Qdabra's weekly webinar. This is Patrick, and we don't do these webinars every week, but we try. Last year, we didn't have as many as in previous years because we were so busy trying to finish features in Forms Designer before the Microsoft end of life for InfoPath date, which is coming up in July here. This year, I think, on a pretty good pace. We did have a bit of a lull in Q1. I think we only had one or two webinars in Q1. Q2, we've got a lot more. Today, I think the title now should have maybe been a little bit more catchy because we don't have a lot of people here. But turn any repeating table into a lightning fast Excel style spread dashboard. So really what this should have said was you can create dashboards with Qdabra Forms, and they can be super fast like Excel. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history because we've done a lot of webinars on dashboards. Mel, can you go to the next slide? So first up, dashboards are important because you need to abstract the form data. So you need to be able to look at all the data in your system. I mean, SharePoint has dashboards. SharePoint dashboards are called views. So when you have a list or a library in SharePoint, you can create views. The views are defaulted. You can customize them, and that's a dashboard, right? And then you can go up a level beyond that and have dashboards of dashboards and so on. But what we're talking about right now is really just trying to get a quick picture, a quick visual of the data that's active in your system, that you need to act on. And this is the benefit of dashboards, is that they query your form data, but they only surface or they filter out the stuff that doesn't need to be acted on, and you end up with a sort of a control center or a heat map, or there's various ways of saying this, but you have a view onto the data that needs to be worked on, or reviewed, or approved, or whatever. So you can create dashboards with Qdabra Forms, and we're going to show you how to do that today. This has been a feature for a long time. We've been doing dashboard webinars forever and a day. Mel, what's the next slide? So let's show you 4 of these just to give you an idea of what they look like. Mel?
Yep. All right, so we've got simple dashboard right here. This is our webinar management form dashboard, just shows, previous webinars in the past into just a data grid style right there. We also got a central flows dashboard that is entire solution in itself. So here we're seeing, like I'm able to see my tasks, which I only have one task here, I believe. Yeah. Then my forms that I submitted, and what you just saw is like an only admins show all tab, where I can see all the forms in this specific like form type, and you're going to see a couple columns. So a little bit more advanced dashboard, so to speak. Here is an example of an operational dashboard where still the admins are using this. So we've got some shortcuts at the top there to create new forms. We've got tabs going on here. Each tab shows the set of data for that specific tab, right? So it's more like real world kind of thing, that this is actually a live form with just dummy data from our customer. Then lastly, here we've got our own support tickets dashboard, which we use to manage submitted tickets, resolved ones, and those kind of things. So we also got like a button here that opens the form. So that's one addition to this dashboard.
And these are all simply forms in Forms Designer, right?
Right, exactly. Built-in Forms Designer and showing in FormsViewer REST.
So yeah, so those are 4 great examples. Let's go to the next slide. So we have, I think it looks like we've got 18 webinars that we've done in the last, since we started doing webinars. If you go to our webinars page on Qdabra.com, it's underneath education. I'm just listing the top 5 most recent webinars we've done that had dashboard in the name here. You can see that just in the last 5 years, we've done 5 webinars on dashboards. One could claim that maybe the one Hillary did 2022 was more specific to SharePoint. But I think the other ones were actually all Qdabra reform dashboards. And I think, Mel, you did many of them, if not all the other four. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. So, and these links are clickable. We'll send the PowerPoint deck out to you after the webinar. Next slide. So some differences. Well, forms typically query and submit data. You can query from any secondary data source. You can submit to any secondary data source or main data source. Main submit, main data sources in the form, and it's submitting XML data. When your dashboard is typically just going to query data, and then it'll show all the forms underneath it. And then, like Mel mentioned a minute ago, you'll have a link or a button to open up the form in a separate tab in your browser to allow people to quickly act on a form. Sometimes what you'll want to do is open it inline or open it in the same form. And there's various options here. The nice thing about dashboards is they are customizable, so you can actually change them. As you saw, we had four different versions. They're much more customizable than like SharePoint views were. And I hope that was obvious with the previous demos. They and you can also submit data from a dashboard. We have dashboards. Our central flow dashboard actually submits comments, and we've done versions of dashboards that bulk approve things. So you can actually have it do more than one row at a time to bulk approve or bulk reject or um, do some kind of a bulk action on your forms. So next slide, Mel. I think we're at today's agenda. I want to thank Mel for preparing this wonderful webinar. This is once again inspired by a real life customer scenario that Mel has worked on. We tend to bring you webinars. Probably about half the webinars we bring you are new techniques that were inspired by a customer, an actual use case. The other webinars usually are like, okay, here are the latest things we did in FormsViewer, Forms Designer. In this case, because Mel is demoing a solution, anybody can build this today. You don't need a feature in FormsViewer or Forms Designer. But I want to thank Mel again for coming up with this. This is all her. She was inspired, thanks to the customer, to do this. And Mel's been an incredibly creative force at Qdabra for 18 years now. So Mel, I'll let you take it away from here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick. Yeah, so like Patrick said, this is all inspired by a customer scenario. So in the past, they've built a dashboard for them that is pretty good. It's I covered it in one of our past webinars, the smarter dashboard. So they are smart, but not so fast. So today's agenda for this webinar is we're going to show how we made that smart dashboard into a fast sort and filter instant kind of thing in the browser. You're going to see sort of an Excel style menu, one that you're already familiar with. So how you can make your repeating table, any repeating table on your form, change into this dashboard style with an instant sort and filter. And it is safe by design, meaning you can just drop it in your existing form. You don't have to change like any rules or anything, any business logic there. It is just enabling a script and a CSS file and running a rule, which you'll see live later. So yeah, it's non-destructive. It's not going to like destroy your form. So yeah, we'll just go through this live later. That's our agenda. So just a quick overview of how it works. So sort and filter, you sort by hovering a header in your repeating table, and it provides you the options to like filter from based on the available data. And then you can sort ascending, descending, just like how you would in normal tables, like in Excel, right? Then as soon as like you select filter options, and you can see right away the data that you see on is instant on the view. All right, so yeah, we talked about these and also the choices cascade. So again, you're going to see this later live, but when you pick a choice and it also changes the rest of the menus in the other like columns to to be just for that selected filter set. It cascades. So you're going to understand this more later. So yeah, I mentioned that this can be done in any repeating table without having to redesign. No schema changes, no rule changes. It's non-distractive. It works for a large set of data. We also have paging. I added that just today. We allow paging. So yeah, it says smooth like that. And I think I just want to yeah, show you these techniques built on the fly. You've seen the support tickets dashboard. I'll show you the orders dashboard, and then yeah, we'll jump to our demo. These are just examples of some examples of dashboards that are applicable in today's real world, right? All right, here we go. So I'll start by showing you the smart dashboard that we've demoed in one of the webinars before. So this is the one, smarter dashboard. So let me go ahead and open this. And all right, here we go. So we'll see that we have 500 records. This is dummy data from the Contoso DB. Yeah, nothing fancy here. We've got 20 pages. And then if I want to filter this, click here and it's already filtered by company, so that was instant. But if I like click on the header here, first name, you'll see the spinner or the loader icon. It queried the database just to give me these options here, this list of names here. And then I select another column header. It will try to requery like so, and just to show me again this set. So if I try to actually select one, it queried again. So every click on this dashboard needed a query to the server. That's why if you've got tons of data, the performance is bad. So we improve that. That's what I'm going to show you here. Smart and fast dashboard. So it's not only smart this time, it's also fast. So loading still depends on the amount of data that you're pulling. So I'm going to talk about how what the technique is about later, but showing you first. Here then, if I hover over these headers, I'm not even clicking. I just hover and I can see the options right there instantly. And if I start like, let's clear it first, start picking, filtering, everything is instant. And I can do multiple filters too. Unlike in the other technique, I can only filter one at a time. So yeah, like so. So if I clear and if I just clear that, it's going to show all again. And then I can sort like C to A here, and sorting is instant, like so. We've got paging too. I've got like 25. Everything is instant, like, like this dashboard flies like that. And I'm just so happy about that. So, yeah, also here in the product. So what I want to show next is how to add this in your existing form, or we're gonna actually build it from scratch. Patrick, you gonna say something?
No, I'm just really impressed with how fast that was. Way to go.
Yeah, it is. So here I got a starter template. Let's open it in Forms Designer. I've already added some stuff here. The querying, that's going to query from our database, the same Contoso DB. So what I've got here is in the data connections, you'll see a couple of DBXL XTP data connections. Those are coming from our built-in XTP template part that, allows me to query my database and even submit, but we're not going to do submit today. This is my Contoso DB data connection. So on form load, let me show you in Qdabra rules, finish loading. The only rules we've got is the adjust DBXL connection. So that means I can move this form to another DBXL server without having to do much. And then the querying the customer's database. So it's right here, doing the query DB data connection. Then just the repeating table on the view. Let's see how this works. So if I open the form, it will query all 500 records at once, like so. It shows it like that. Nothing fancy, just my repeating table, no filtering, no sorting available. So what I'll do is I'll delete this table. So we're going to pretend that we're just doing this from scratch, right? So I already have my rules The first thing to do is add the resource file. So what you'll get from us to make this happen, you're going to get two resource files. We've got this JS file, the JavaScript, and then a CSS file for the styling. So they're just those two files. And then we'll load those on form load. We'll run those on form load. So here in Qdabra rules, finish loading. Before I get the customers, I want to load these files first. So I'm going to do load resource. Let's do filter resources. So I'm going to do add run a curls command. Here I'm going to use the insert curls command feature to look for the load resource command. So like it says, it allows loading a CSS or a JavaScript file into the page. So we just need to name or enter the name of our file. So in this case, we've got the filter sort.js. If we scroll down, we'll see the entire syntax. Just double check it, but it's always correct because our builder already built it for you. So this is our command. So I'm just going to copy this, make sure my name is correct here. Okay. And then just do another one. This time I'm going to just paste and change this to CSS. So it loads my CSS file next. All right, those two. And then one other rule is to actually sort or run the command. So I'm gonna just move this down. So I load the files, I query the customer's database, and then I run my curls command. So run filter sort. And the command would be, this is a custom curls command that we built. Let me grab my formula. Actually, I have an instructions here that will go along with the webinar materials today. So you'll see here 2 ways to set it up. So just 2 steps here. Oh, actually 3 steps, right? So these are the files that I showed you, and then you add them in your resource files, and then yeah, later we'll do number 2. I moved to number 3 right away, but what I want to grab is this command here. So I've got custom filter sort. And then I say I'll give my table name, which I should have done my second step first. So this is not confusing, but let me show you. Table is going to be the screen tip for your section. So table filter, I'm going to remember this one. And then paging, if you want to enable paging, which we're going to do. So just to set that to true, and then how many, what's the range of that paging? You can do 15, 50, 100, what have you. So I'm just going to say okay to that. That is in place, but it's not going to do anything yet until we put a control here. So first thing to do is to add a section in the guide. It tells you to add a section. So I'm going to go to my Contoso DB data source. This section is not yet your repeating group. This is going to be your parent, the parent of the repeating group, the container. So I'm going to select rows. Now we have a section on our canvas, and then we'll add the repeating table. So I'm going to select repeating table and point it to my repeating group. So these are all our columns. So select. Now Forms Designer is asking us which columns do I want to show in this repeating table. So I'd like the company. I can click add there. I can also double click to get that on the right pane, first name, last name, address, email, and phone. So we want all these guys here. Click finish. Now I have my repeating table inside that section. Nice. Let me just remove my extra spaces and select the section. Go to the properties pane, click on the properties button to display the pane, and down here we've got a screen tip. We utilize this screen tip for almost all of our forms, so all forms that we want to make beautiful. So the script that came with this allows you to use this format. So if you add a screen tip with class equals and then followed by your actual like text, which we used in our command, table underscore filter, this text is going to be appended to this section so that it is now using a class that I can use in my styling to refer to that, like make my section, give my section a red background, things like that. So that's how it's able to use that class. Okay, so now I said that, and then our script will look for that and apply the filtering to that. I think that's all the steps. It's auto saved, but I'm just gonna save it again anyway, and then open. I think I've added all what I needed to add. All right, we've got, okay, something didn't work right here. We still have all the stuff. Let me see what I missed. Said class equals stable filter. I got my two filter sort. Okay. And then I've gotten my Qdabra rules. Finish loading. I just load. I got the correct spelling. Did I? Okay. Get customer. It is getting this, but it's not running my, okay, I think I might have what I encountered before, some extra characters here. Filter. Usually equals true. Let me try this. If not, then I'm in trouble. Let me open and check my inspector. Yeah, it's not doing, oh, I see something down there. Okay, what I'll do is I'll look at my previous version because I've got this working earlier. Maybe the JS, my last few changes changed. So let's try this one. Oh, I believe this one is also, this one is not set up. Okay, so let's try my archived one. Oh, nothing here. All right. I'm gonna need a few seconds to troubleshoot this, so it might happen here. Let me think. But the class
Well,
here.
while you're looking into that,
Yeah.
if anyone has any questions for Mel or for me, happy to answer them or work on them. And you saw how easy it was to create this. I mean, obviously, it's a benefit in the demo to have something not work because it puts us on the spot to fix it, and it's a learning opportunity because these kind of changes, even though it's not super involved, there wasn't, Mel did pretty much everything in about 10 minutes, but there can be little gotchas, and something was not correctly referenced, and therefore it didn't catch, um, which is what I'm guessing happened with you, Mel. It's
Yeah.
probably
It's like my screen tip is not working. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm just gonna look at this one.
Is it working on the old form, the previous one?
Yeah, the smart dashboard, the smart and fast dashboard that I showed, it is working. So let me just see what might be happening. Maybe my script isn't running at all, and we can debug this.
Yeah, you can add the debug section and see if it's loading it or not. Maybe
Um,
it's not loading it correctly.
right. Yeah, I got class equals. So okay, one more troubleshooting here because I'm looking at the inspector on my other screen. Hmm, 2 seconds.
How are you debugging it?
I'm sorry.
How are you debugging it? Can you just add the curl's execution history and
Okay,
see if it's loading it?
yeah, let's do that. Okay, got lots of tabs open now. Let's design and close my other ones. So let's add the curls history here. So I'm going to actually go to repeating table, Qdabra roles, this one here. Okay, saving. Auto saving. And let's open.
Yeah, for those people watching that have not done this before, it's the Qdabra rules is the history log of the commands running. And what we want to check here is to make sure everything succeeded. Looks like it did, which is great. So it did load those resources. We don't care about the doc ID because that one is only if we're specifying a doc ID on load, which we're not.
Yeah. I am stumped. Hold on.
Well, let's go back to the to your previous demo, Mel, and show that again. And then let's go back to the slides. So if Mel was able to get to work, and kudos to her for actually trying this in a live webinar. And we'll have to send some notes out to you on how we fixed it after the webinar. But we know your time is valuable, and it's already 30 minutes into the webinar. We typically want these things to end, not go too long, although sometimes we do go long. Yeah, and so let's go back to that previous demo, Mel, that you had with the just show the Excel style stuff again. So if it were working, you would see this, it would automatically show these all up, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to also note that it's not super like it's not always going to be fast. Like if one of the hurdles that I ran into here in the orders tab, this tab has more data. Like right now you're seeing it's trying to query and it's taking time because that query, that first query, is still going to depend on the number of records or the amount of data that is that the form is loading. Like here we've got 2,545 records, so that's already a lot, right? But what's instant here is still, the filtering because the form needs to first load like cache the data into your browser and then use that available
Yeah.
data set for the filtering. So yeah,
Well, most of the time they're not going to query everything. They're going to have
exactly.
a rule saying, give me everything that's currently active.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, but that wasn't too bad. That was only a few seconds. So, okay, let's go back to the slides then.
Yeah,
So are we done? We're
we're
done.
done.
Kind of, not completely
Yeah,
complete,
right.
but
Um,
yeah. So this stuff is easy to add to your forms. Mel showed how to do it. In the end, it didn't work. We're going to debug that, fix it, and make sure that the PDF that we send as part of this webinar has any modifications to it. If you want to get this working for your for a database table or something else, even a SharePoint list or library, please let us know. We can help. We can walk you through it. In 15 minutes, we can walk you through setting it up, and we'd be happy to do that. Any questions for Mel? So this looks amazing. Thanks for all the hard work. Thanks, Harrison. That was wonderful. Glad you're here. And yeah, we'll post this to YouTube and get the slides out to you. And please let us know if you need help getting this to work. Great job, Mel.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Have a
everyone.
great
Have a
day.
good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.